So let's talk about why trust is important in teams. Well, trust is important in any team, but even more important in a high-performing team. So let's think about the difference, first of all, between a good and a high-performing team. So first of all, a good team can be achieved by anyone, by chance, whereas a high-performing team only happens by design. So you've got to put effort into it, you've got to put thought into it, and you've got to invest in it in order to really take a team to high performance. And in a good team, relationships are good, and we trust each other with what we would call dependability-based trust. And this is when I can really depend upon my team members to do what they say they're going to do. So we have a certain level of interdependence in the team which relies on this kind of trust. So, you know, we get stuff done, and we talk about it, and there's good levels of communication, and we've got that dependability-based trust. In a high-performing team, it's different. So here, relationships need to be at the next level. So this is what we call vulnerability-based trust. And this is when I trust my team members at such a level that it's okay for me to ask for help if I need it. Or it's okay for me to admit that I've made a mistake. Or it's okay for me to be challenged by other team members in a really constructive way on something that I'm suggesting. And when we've got this level of trust, we open the door for creativity and innovation, for next level decision making, for really great levels of inclusion, and for that constructive conflict, which really takes things to the next level. So let's have a look at a couple of these bits. So if we look at innovation first of all, and how deep levels of trust enable this in a high performing team. So if you only have that dependability based trust that I talked about earlier, and you're trying to be innovative, you're trying to really foster innovation in your team, the danger is that the team's still quite focused on themselves, you know, themselves as individual team members. And team members are still, to a great part, working with their own interests in mind. They're thinking about themselves, what they need to achieve, how do I get stuff done, okay? And so what this means is that they only really trust each other at the transactional level to get things done. It can be quite competitive still, and that competitiveness doesn't really foster innovation. If I suggest an idea in this environment, for example, it might not be received very well. And so when we have higher levels of trust in a team, that vulnerability-based trust that I mentioned earlier, that really comes into play. This means that I now work in an environment where I can easily brainstorm with my teammates ideas without fear of those ideas being discounted or knocked down. I can also bounce ideas around the team, and if an idea is suggested, it's a team idea. It's something that we've all come up with together. Even if I maybe suggested it, somebody else built upon it, and then they built upon it, and together we've created something that was so much better than what the idea I had in the first place. And that means that the whole team can take the credit for that rather than just one individual. And that's the difference between a good team and a really high performing team. And that's the difference between that dependability based trust and that vulnerability based trust, and what it creates in terms of innovation.